Hello, we are the champions, and in this documentary we're going to talk about the Reform War and the liberal reforms from 1855 to 1861.
The Reform War, better known as the 3 Years' War, lasted from December from 1857 to 1861. This war was mainly a conflict between liberals and conservatives because liberals wanted to establish a secularism ideas in the government. This means that liberals wanted to separate the church from the state. Liberals were led by Benito Juárez. They were inspired by Enlightenment ideas that they wanted to implement in the country. On the other hand, conservatives wanted a centralized government and wanted the church to have more power.
So let's go back in time. And in 1836, Santana was in power, leading to be a centralist power or government. Then, after many years of centralist power, with the Plan of Ayutla, Mexico leads to a federalist government, and with the Plan Ayutla, Mexico thinks of ideas to make the Constitution of 1857. So the Constitution of 1857, this Constitution was made after the Plan de Ayutla. This Constitution said that the country could be a liberal. This means freedom, natural rights to the people, also secular, separating the church from the country, the government. Also federalist. This is the power separated by states, giving more power to the states. And capitalist. A good example of the capitalist one is that if you want to be a farmer, the government says you can't be a farmer. You could be, as long as it's legal. In summary, the Constitution gives more freedom to the people, more natural rights, and that's it.
After conflicts between liberals and conservatives, the Reform War started with the Plan de Tacubaya. This meant that the conservatives that opposed to Juárez reforms made this plan to arrest him and to dissolve the Congress. At this time, the conservatives were supported by the church and the military.
Well, now I'm gonna talk about the secular laws. In 1861, the liberals won and they established some new laws to make their way of thinking and the government better. So first, the births and ceremonies now were made civil. It didn't need to be obligatory religious. It could be or civil or religious or both. Then the cemeteries were secularized, meaning that not only the Catholics or Christians or any religion could be buried there. Now any person or could be buried. Well, also another law was that all properties from the church were nationalized, meaning since now the government was more powerful than the church, the properties that were from the church were not from the government, and the government made the properties public to all people. And at last, the last law was that monastic orders were outlawed, meaning that you didn't need to practice or to belong to a monastic group. It wasn't obligatory, it was only from your choice. So with this, we conclude all the secular laws.
In 1861, Benito Juárez was elected president, and his government, like all the previous governments, had a debt with Britain, France, and Spain. And in 1862, Napoleon III, nephew of Napoleon Bonaparte, ordered his troops to invade Mexico, and they arrived at Veracruz, and they tried to recolonize Mexico, violating the Monroe Doctrine.
As we can see, Mexico had a lot of problems. They had a lot of conflicts, and they changed a lot of representatives or leaders. Their economy was in a bad state because they had debts to French, to Spain, to Great Britain, and this brought the French intervention to Mexico. This later on brought the Maximilian government, and the political system changed a lot too. It started with a centralist power from Santa Anna to a federalist system from Benito Juárez. Later on, it changed into a monarchy of Maximiliano of Habsburg with the intervention of the French Empire.
Thank you for your attention.